Hello and welcome to PEP Business TV. We've got another episode planned for you today, and we've had some questions in regarding some after-sales issues, so we're going to start with that today, more particularly based on some parts selling inquiries. So we're going to talk a bit about parts selling skills. One of the things we often hear here is that, is there a process for selling in parts department? Because there is in sales department and other areas, but quite often the parts guys seem to think there isn't really a sales process for them. So it's quite often one of those issues where it's after the sale, and so do we actually sell anything, or do we only provide what we're asked for? And these sort of things provide us a range of questions. We've had one or two questions come in asking us, is there actually a process, and is there indeed a need for a process? Well, I don't know, Ian, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like any sales-driven job, there needs to be a process that ensures consistency. So the experience that the customers have, whether they're wholesale or whether they're retail parts customers across the counter, they get the same experience.
Yeah. And I think that, what we've seen, and some of these questions have said the same things, is that a telephone call sometimes happens and it's answered in a different way. It's not consistent, it's not clear, it's a bit mumbled. There isn't really a process that allows the parts person to get the information consistently and then be able to sort of sell to the best of their ability, because they're sort of put the phone down and go, oh, I didn't ask about that, or it's a bit sort of ad hoc, some of them.
Yeah, I think the other thing as well is that if you've got a consistent process in place, it enables you to make sure that you make the best of the revenue opportunity, as you've just touched on then, putting the phone down afterwards and thinking about the things you didn't do. So maybe having some sort of scripted process makes perfect sense.
Just helps it a bit more. The face-to-face thing, I think, is also an issue. We've had a couple of points that have come in that have said, it's easier face-to-face. Well, I think most things are, because you can actually have that conversation. I can look at you, ask you a question and get an answer. But even so, there needs to be a structure, doesn't there? There needs to be something to follow. Yeah.
I think the other thing is that, if there is a process in place, then it will help in terms of customer satisfaction, making sure that we provide the customer with not just the part they ask for, but also any of the peripheral parts that they might need to complete the task successfully.
Well, I think that upselling thing is almost a separate topic, and it's one that we do cover separately. But I think here, looking at the questions that we've had, it's really saying, should we have a process? How do we develop that? And some of the ones that we've done and we've trained most successfully is when we've actually given people a bit of an outline template and said, go away and personalise this. Take a telephone answering sheet, but make it the way you want it to be. Use the words you feel comfortable with.
Yeah. As I say, almost in a scripted fashion and making it more professional.
Yeah. I know that some of the guys that I've worked with have actually laminated some of these things and put them up near the telephone so that when the phone rings, they've got a prompt to go through and they can follow it through.
But keeping it nice and simple. So, people, I think one of the important things is that it doesn't feel like it's scripted to the customer making the inquiry.
Yeah. And that's why it's important that you use your own words, because there's nothing worse than reading somebody else's text and it trying to sound right. I often think that happens when they answer the phone. There's some of these answers are so long, welcome to, thank you for calling, and it's all, and it doesn't feel very natural to them. So it's important, I think, people, one, have the basis of what the process is, but then make it their own and sort of follow it through.
Absolutely.
So I think what we've got there, I hope that's answered a few of the general questions that some of you guys have raised recently for us. It was really very much about the fact that, do we need to have a sales process? I know when we've done training for people over the years, lots of parts people say, no, we don't. But then when they're pushed a little and they think about it, they say, well, yes, we have, but it's just not a very formal one. So we hope you found that useful today and that we've covered the points that you've been raising. Follow the link through to our site where you'll be able to pick up on the training course that will cover all the issues that we've been talking about today. There's also some free downloads for things like creating your sales process and indeed the telephone sales process as well. Both those will help you become far better and much more successful. Well, shall we leave it there? I think we've covered the details that were raised on those questions. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of PEP Business TV, and we'll see you again soon for another discussion. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.